All right, guys, how's it going? Tony Maritato here. So in this episode, we're going to jump into the Medicare Benefit Policy Manual. We're going to go down to Section 220. Specifically, we're going to go to Section 220.2, where it discusses medical necessity. We're going to go into the maintenance section of that paragraph, and we're going to look at a specific example, which I think you can start to see what I'm saying when I say there's a difference between a medically necessary covered service that must be submitted to Medicare and services that are not medically necessary that open the door for you to grow the cash-based side of your business. So guys, jump on the computer and let's check it out. Okay, here we are on the document. I'm going to scroll down here just so you can see the section I'm talking about. So Section 220.2, reasonable and necessary outpatient rehabilitation therapy. We're going to scroll through. We're going to jump down to the maintenance section. Here's the maintenance program. And we're going to go to this second example. Now, I want you to pay attention. I hate to read to you, but I think it's that important and it's worth the time. So in this example, a patient with MS needs a maintenance program to slow or prevent the deterioration in communication ability caused by the medical condition. Totally makes sense. Therapy services from a qualified speech language pathologist may be covered to establish a maintenance program. That's really important. Even though the current medical condition does not yet justify the need for skilled therapy sessions. Evaluation, establishment of the program, and training the family or support personnel may require, still doesn't even say does require, just says may require the skills of a therapist and would be covered. Note, this is where the good stuff is. In this example, the skills of the therapist are not required to actually carry out the maintenance program services, and as a result, are not covered. Are not covered. When you see are not covered, that means that you may charge cash-based rates for these services because they're not covered. Okay? So let's take this example, and what exactly does this mean? How does this work into a hybrid model? So let's say I tend to be an advocate of those of us who are going to be credentialed with Medicare, become a participating provider. It's just so much easier in so many ways. So I'm a PAR provider, right? I'm not a speech pathologist, but I'm going to pretend I am one. So in this situation, this patient comes to me, direct referral from physician. Okay. I do the evaluation. I determine it's medically necessary. I determine it requires the skills of a language pathologist, speech language pathologist. So I do the evaluation. On the same session as the evaluation, we've already seen from other sections we're allowed to bill treatment. So I do a full treatment with the evaluation. During that treatment, I create the plan of care. I determine what the goals are going to be between the patient, self-report and what I think needs to happen to achieve those goals. I lay out the program and I determine this patient. Now, this is just an example. The real heart of the issue is how are you going to determine what is medically necessary and what is not. In a simple situation like this, I determine there's no cognitive deficits, there's no confusion, there's no difficulty learning new tasks or activity. The patient can understand what I'm telling them. They can retain the information and they can repeat it. There's no comorbidities. There's no reason of concern that the patient can't do this on their own or with the help of an assistant or an aide, a personal trainer, a massage therapist, somebody else that's just around to help them. And there's no medical reason that I have to be concerned, like their symptoms aren't drastically variable between sessions or days. They're pretty much stable. They've been in this holding pattern. They need to be better, but they're not significantly declining. They're not at risk for further harm or injury. They just need to do the stuff. They need to put in the reps, right? That's this person. So from my evaluation, I develop my plan of care. The initial evaluation and development of the plan of care, initial treatment of that session medically necessary, covered, submitted to Medicare, and processed through the insurance system. But then the following sessions are not medically necessary. They are not covered services. Hence, we establish our self-pay rate, whatever that rate is for you, your business, your clinic. And now those follow-up sessions are paid directly by the patient to the provider because you've ruled out that medical necessity. And that's what it looks like. So now let's say, depending on your geography and what you're charging, let's say the initial session, the evaluation, developing the plan of care, the initial treatment, reimbursement after reductions. And if you saw my video, I'll share the link up here. After reductions, let's say it was $122 you collected for that hour. Okay, now you're charging $250 for each follow-up session. Okay, look at the averages, do the math. Let's say you do the one insurance-based session and then you do one a week, however you want to do it, 4 follow-up sessions. We're talking $1,122 or whatever I said the insurance reimbursement was for 6 sessions, or 5 sessions. I'm sorry, 5 sessions. You know, so you dollar cost average across that. That is the power of a hybrid model. Now, you have to have established policies in place. You have to be able to say, okay, how did you rule out medical necessity? Well, based on CMS guidelines and these criteria that you pull straight from this document, you were able to determine this patient did not require medically necessary, you know, whatever procedure codes you were doing, after that initial consultation, after that initial evaluation, plan of care and treatment. So guys, I really think this is a huge opportunity that nobody has been discussing that I've seen. Now, I don't know. Talk to me. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what your ideas are. Let me know where the confusion is for you, because the confusion creates fear and that fear creates inaction. So let's do this together. Let's move this direction together, and let's make sure we're doing it properly, correctly, and we have resources to support our decisions. As always, I appreciate your time. If you made it to the end of the video, take a minute, subscribe, ring the notification bell. The more you interact with these videos and help me understand what information you need to know, the better the content's gonna be and the more I can produce. So in the meantime, if you're not part of our Facebook group, get in there, join it. It's an amazing community. Everybody helps each other. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Thank you so much for your support.